What's going on, guys? Welcome to this video. I know it's been a minute since I've done a video, but I wanted to get up here and express my gratitude for all the support we've received over the past couple of years, the past few months actually, as we transitioned over from our main store that we had in Warner Robins down to our home shop, and then moving into our new storefront location in Reynolds. And so I want to just give a huge thanks out to for supporting us and continue to support us as we continue this journey. And doing that, I also want to start answering questions that people ask, because not only do we get these questions frequently, but I figured I'd do videos on them so that other people can see the video and get your questions answered. And in this video, we are going to be answering the question whether or not it's worth it to repair your boots or your shoes, whether it's stitching that came undone on the tops, or your soles or your heels, that sort of thing. But if you're watching this, do me a huge favor and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give us a like. If you can't, if you're not able to support us financially, monetarily, give us a subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the notifications, and share the video. You'd be surprised how many people we come across who have no clue that the stuff that we do is available. And so we get new customers every day, basically. And so that's cool, that's neat. But at the same time, people find out from us because of people like you who share the content and stuff like that. So do us a huge favor. If you can't support us monetarily, share the video, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe. They're free. It's free. And so with that being said, let's get into the question. Is it worth getting your boots or shoes repaired? That in itself is a loaded question, because there's so many different variables that come into play as to whether or not it's worth it, right? So a lot of it would depend on the quality of the materials used to build your boots or shoes. Since we do, the majority of the stuff that we do is cowboy boots, that's basically what I'm going to talk about. But we do a lot of shoes and women's shoes and stuff like that. So on a pair of cowboy boots, you got to look at the material that they're made out of. A lot of companies, depending on the brand, depending on how much you paid for the boots initially, they use a lot of vinyl materials, which over time will start cracking and start flaking off. And so if you paid $40 for the boot, it may not be worth spending $160, $200 to get them back on track, unless, of course, there's sentimental value in the boots, which I've seen before, and I've repaired a lot of boots that have sentimental value. So that's one way that makes it worth it. If you have a pair of boots that were custom, right? Because if you buy a pair of custom boots, you'll probably be paying a pretty good penny, and we're talking $1,500-$1,600 up to $2,000, depending on the materials that were used. So if you buy a $1,500 pair of boots, custom made to measure, it's worth it to have them repaired for $250, $300 to have them refurbished, right? That's worth it, obviously. And so not recently, I have a customer that brings 3 to 4 pairs of boots every single year. He basically rotates the boots, and this is what he does. He drops one pair of boots, and when he picks that pair of boots, he'll drop another pair. And finally, as we started talking about different materials and stuff like that, and just for anybody that's interested, these particular boots were Tecovas boots, and this guy's a farmer. And after talking about the boots and the materials and all that, he was going to pay me more to fix them than what he could go out and buy a new pair of boots. So the next questions were, is it worth it at that point, right? Because you can buy a new pair of boots. But one thing to keep in mind is the boots are already broken in. So if the boots are already broken in, there's no major cracks, they're still in really good condition, then it might be worth spending a little bit more money to get them fixed. Reason for that being is because the materials that somebody like myself, a repair shop, would put back into the boots would most likely be better quality than what you would get from the manufacturer, right? Because you got to keep in mind, the manufacturers make their money on quantity most times. and they got to cut corners. They got to cut cost somewhere, which is the soles the majority of the time, is the bottoms. because they know you can go to somebody like me and get the bottoms fixed. So they'll usually put like thinner leather that'll wear out in about 6 to 8 months, maybe a year, if depending on how hard you're on them. And so when I sat down with the customer and we discussed his boots, looked at everything, there was no cracks, they looked really good. And we were going to replace the welt, we were going to replace the soles, heel bases, we were going to do a complete cleaning on the boots. By the time we got done tallying up everything, it was going to be about $290. So a new pair of boots at the time was about $275. So he was going to pay me $20 more to fix his boots, right? Now, mind you, the repairs were going to be better quality materials, and we were going to put Vibram rubber sole guards to extend the life of the soles. And obviously, being better quality materials, the boots were already broken in, because you got to keep in mind, a good leather upper, doesn't matter the company, a lot of times a good leather upper will break in very nicely to your feet, and once it's broken in, you don't want anything else. And so that's the position this customer was in. And so he went for it because he felt it was worth it, and I felt it was worth it. One of the things that I do with my customers is, if it's not worth it, I'll be straight up with them and say, you know what, it may not be worth it to put the money into this. Why not just buy a new pair of boots? Because a lot of times, if, and this goes back to before, I had a lot of experience doing this. What happens is, I would quote a customer for a certain job, but not knowing before how old the boot was and stuff like that. Usually with older boots that have footbeds in them, leather footbeds, they tend to crack after like 20 to 30 years. So that's one thing to really keep in mind when you're working on older material, because they're known to get damaged. And now you quoted the customer for a specific job, and now you realize you got to replace the footbeds, replace the welt, and all that stuff. And when I got started, I would just eat up those costs, because I couldn't go out to the customer and said, hey, it's going to cost you an extra, I don't know, 80, another 100, maybe 150, $200 than what I initially quoted you, because we got to replace the footbeds and the welt and all that stuff, right? So, and that's stuff you learn over the years, but for the most part, yes, it's worth getting your stuff repaired. Best thing you can do is just contact somebody. If you have a local repair shop, give them a call. You're more than welcome to send me an email or send me a text message at 478-328-8162. That's our shop number, and it's also a cell phone number. Send me a text message with your boots, and I'll be more than happy to give you my opinion based on personal experience, training, and knowledge as to whether or not it's worth getting repaired. And I'll also be happy to give you a quote based on that particular whatever the type of work requires, because that's the whole video for a different day. But for this point, I'm just trying to make is, yes, it's worth it, but and I probably rambled on longer than I wanted to, but I wanted you to understand, there's so much more than just yes or no. And so hopefully this video helped. If you saw value in this, give us a thumbs up. Those really help us a lot. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's been a great thing too. And share this video so that other people are aware of the things that we do. But other than that, hope you have an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks.